You know, people walk around like everything's fine, smiling, pretending, dressing up their pain in polite little nods and I'm okay. But deep down, they hear it. That whisper in the silence. That shiver that creeps in when the room gets just a little too quiet. That's not paranoia. That's not coincidence. That's God tapping on your shoulder with something colder than comfort. Warnings don't always scream, they whisper. That's the thing people never understand until it's far too late. They expect some grand gesture, right? Some dramatic boom from the sky, lightning bolts, blood-red signs on the wall, fire raining down. But nah, that's the movies. That's the bedtime version. The real thing, it's quiet. It's subtle. It's crawling in your shadow when you're pretending to smile at brunch. It's the chill that hits you for no reason in the middle of a room full of people. It's that half sec when you look in the mirror and don't recognize what's staring back. It's the knot in your stomach that shows up just before you do something you know ain't right, but you do it anyway. Why? 'Cause the whisper ain't loud enough, huh? 'Cause you want the scream. But here's the funny part. By the time the scream comes, the damage is already done. That was never the warning. That was the result. People want drama. Big explosions, signs from the heavens. But God? Oh, he's not in the business of performance. He doesn't need a stage. He works in patterns, echoes. That same mistake you make over and over again and convince yourself it's just bad luck. That person you keep letting back in your life, even though every fiber of your being says, don't. The weird feeling you get every time you walk into that job, that room, that relationship. But you tell yourself it's fine. I'm just overthinking. No, you're not. You're under listening. See, the whisper's always there. It's always been there. It's in that tightness in your chest when you go against your gut. It's in the way your hands tremble before you send that message you know you shouldn't send. It's in the silence after you lie to yourself, the part of you that doesn't clap for the performance you're putting on. You ever notice how life gets weirdly loud right before something goes wrong? Not outside, inside, like your own thoughts are trying to shout over each other. That's not anxiety. That's not your mind spiraling. That's the whisper turning up the volume just enough to say, you still have time. But we don't want to hear it, do we? We drown it out. Music, distractions, parties, pills, pretty lies with pretty faces. Anything to shut up that little voice that sounds too much like truth. And then the fall, the regret, the breakdown, the crash. And suddenly everyone's asking, why didn't I see it coming? But you did. You felt it. That's the point. That's the joke. The whisper was there, tap, tap, tapping at your ribs like a clock ticking down. But you called it nerves. You called it doubt. You called it nothing. There's no neon sign that says, hey, this is a test. That's not how this game works. It's in the quiet moments, the ones you dismiss, the missed appointment that saved your life. The call you didn't answer that kept you out of something darker. The detour that made you late but kept you breathing. You think those are accidents? Really? You think the universe plays dice with people like you? We think warnings have to hurt to count. But no. The whisper doesn't hurt. The consequences do. The whisper is mercy. It's a chance. But chances don't wait around forever. They don't beg. They don't bang on the door. They knock once, soft like a secret. And if you don't open it, well, then you get what's behind the next door. And that one doesn't knock. That one kicks the whole damn thing down. Ignoring signs invites consequences. But hey, that's the thing about people. They love to gamble with loaded dice and act surprised when the house wins. Signs are funny like that. They don't come wrapped in red tape or blinking lights. Nah, they slip in through the cracks, uninvited, like a bad memory or a guilty thought. They show up when you're smiling too wide, living too fast, thinking you've got the whole game figured out. That's when the signs start knocking. Real quiet, real polite at first, but we laugh them off. We treat them like background noise. Oh, it's nothing, we say, just a coincidence. Yeah, you keep calling it coincidence and see where that takes you. That stomach drop before a decision, that uneasiness when someone speaks, those aren't accidents. Those are sirens wrapped in silk. That's the universe clearing its throat before it starts to scream. And you just keep walking right past it. You ignore the headache that keeps showing up when you lie. You ignore the way your chest tightens when you take that route home. The way your voice changes around people you know you shouldn't trust. You ignore the look in the mirror that lasts a second too long. You ignore the signs because they're not dramatic enough. You want lightning and thunder, not chills and déjà vu. But this isn't a theater, sweetheart. This is real life. And in real life, the signs are subtle, but the punishment is not. Till it's not. One little ignored sign leads to another and another, and suddenly, you're not just walking into a mistake, you're running at it, arms wide open, smiling like it's a wedding. And when it hits you, when the floor falls out from under you, that's when the memory of every ignored sign starts playing in your head like a broken film reel. I knew it, you whisper. Yeah, you did. But knowing means nothing when you choose not to listen. You ever see someone touch a hot stove, scream, and then do it again? That's us. That's how we live. The signs were all there, burned fingers, smoke in the air, the hiss of danger. But we still lean in like moths to the flame, hypnotized by our own arrogance. This time will be different, we say. Oh, sure. Different flavor, same poison. Just because the bottle's prettier doesn't mean the contents won't kill you. The universe is patient, you know. So is God. But not forever. Warnings start off gentle like soft knocks in a quiet house. Then come the louder ones. Then the floorboards creak. Then the windows rattle. Then something breaks. And when it breaks, it doesn't ask for permission, it just shatters. And there you are, standing in the ruins, wondering how the hell it got this bad. I'll tell you how. One ignored sign at a time. That's how. We think we're too smart, too strong, too special. Like rules don't apply to us. Like warnings are for other people. The weak, the lost, the unlucky. But fate doesn't care how pretty your Instagram is. It doesn't care how confident you sound. It doesn't care how many quotes you post about healing while you keep bleeding in private. The signs were for you too, but you were too proud to see them, too loud to hear them. And the funniest part? Half the time, the signs look like inconvenience. A door that won't open. A job that slips away, a person who leaves without a reason, and we curse it, cry over it, scream at the ceiling, not realizing that was the warning, that was the exit, that was the fire escape before the whole place went up in flames. But we chased the fire instead because it looked like love, because it looked like success, because it fed our ego just enough to ignore the burn. You can't dance on the edge forever and expect not to fall. You can't keep playing with signs like they're toys. They're not. They're messages, warnings, mercy in disguise. But mercy in disguise, but mercy ignored becomes something else entirely. You want to live like nothing matters, like you're invincible, like you're smarter than the signs? Go ahead. Just don't act shocked when the bill comes due. Comfort is the enemy of awareness. It sneaks in slow, like a lullaby sung by a lyre. Soft cushions, warm lights, your favorite cup of poison, all lined up to keep you calm, to keep you quiet, to keep you blind. That's the trick, isn't it? Make you feel safe, make you feel seen, make you feel like everything's okay. That's how it gets you. Not with fear, with fluff. People don't want the truth. They want the version of reality that tucks them in at night and tells them they're doing just fine. Even if the whole house is on fire, they'll pull the blanket up over their head and call it peace. That's comfort. That's the killer. Because when you're comfortable, you stop looking, you stop listening, you stop questioning. And that's when the whispers start. Not the ones from outside, the ones inside, the ones you mute with distractions and double taps and overpriced lattes. You ever see a person so deep in comfort they can't even recognize danger, walking around smiling while their soul is rusting underneath? That's most people. Because comfort is a drug, and the withdrawal, oh, that's ugly. That's awareness. That's the moment you realize you've been sleeping next to the enemy, wearing a name tag that says everything's fine. But nothing's fine. You just got used to the dark. You stopped noticing the mold growing on your sanity. Comfort makes you think you've arrived, that the pain was just a phase, that the warning signs were just noise. It tells you to relax, breathe, settle. Why question things when the seat is so soft and the light so dim? But that's when it's the most dangerous, when you're not hurting, when you're not scared, when you're not hungry. Because that's when you stop moving, you stop evolving, you stop noticing that maybe, just maybe, you're sitting in a cage with velvet walls. You ever wonder why people miss the biggest changes in their lives? It's because they're too damn comfortable to see them coming. Growth is painful, change is ugly, truth is sharp. But comfort? Comfort is smooth, it dulls the blade. Makes you think the bleeding stopped, when really, you're just bleeding inside where no one can see it. Not even you. They teach you to chase happiness like it's the goal. Like if you're not smiling, something's wrong. But what if the pain was the point? What if the discomfort was the clue? What if the ache in your chest was God pulling the alarm and you're too busy scrolling to notice? But nah, you want peace, right? You want silence. You want a quiet life, no mess, no questions, just sleep. That's what comfort is. Sleep with your eyes open. The system loves comfort. The world worships it. Keep them fed. Keep them entertained, keep them shopping, keep them sleepy, because if they ever wake up, if they ever really look around, oh, the whole circus falls apart. Because truth doesn't live in a recliner. Truth doesn't come wrapped in bubble wrap and scented candles. It comes in chaos, in discomfort, in the moment when you feel your gut twist and you don't ignore it. But that moment is rare, because most people trade their awareness for routine. They build lives out of autopilot. Wake up, smile, lie, scroll, repeat. And every now and then something tries to shake them. A loss, a betrayal, a voice in the dark. But they silence it. Because awareness, that's work. That's confrontation. That's stepping into the light and seeing just how much rot has built up beneath the surface. Comfort makes you soft, and not the good kind of soft, the brittle kind, the kind that breaks the second life pushes back. But awareness, that makes you dangerous, that makes you sharp, that makes you awake. And there's nothing more terrifying to a comfortable world than a person who refuses to stay asleep. You think comfort is the reward. You think it's the proof you're doing it right. But sometimes it's the warning you missed, the numbness before the storm, the silence before the scream. You're not safe. You're sedated. And deep down, a part of you knows it. The part that twitches when you're alone. The part that can't sit still when it's too quiet. The part that's trying to wake you up. Repetition is mercy, not coincidence. You think life keeps sending you the same kind of pain for fun, like it's running out of new tricks? No, no, my friend. That's not randomness. That's not bad luck. That's the universe, or maybe something even bigger, giving you another shot to get it right. Over and over again. Same type of people, same fights, same heartbreak in different clothes. That's not chaos. That's choreography. But you don't see it like that, do you? You call it a pattern. You complain, why does this always happen to me? Well, maybe it's happening for you. Maybe it's not punishment. Maybe it's a lesson with a lazy student. You keep failing the same test, and the teacher keeps showing up with the same questions. That's not cruelty. That's kindness. That's patience on a godlike scale. That's a warning with a rewind button. See, if life really wanted to destroy you, it wouldn't repeat itself. It'd catch you off guard, take something you never saw coming, and end you in a blink. But no, it gives you reruns, familiar actors, familiar plot. It gives you deja vu and second chances disguised as problems. The same road with the same pothole you swore you'd avoid next time. But there you go, stepping right into it like it's a dance move you're addicted to. You want change, but you don't want to change. That's the joke. And every time it happens again, every time the pain repeats, you have a choice. Learn or loop. Grow or spin. But most people, they spin. They write the same sad song, blame the same ghosts, cry the same tears, and call it fate. Like they're trapped, like they're cursed. No, you're not cursed. You're stubborn. And stubborn looks a lot like cursed when you're not listening. Repetition doesn't mean nothing's changing. It means you're not. It's the universe's way of saying, you missed something. So it rewinds and replays and waits. Like a record stuck on your favorite line, the one you won't admit hits a little too hard. The one you won't admit hits a little too hard. The one you won't admit hits a little too hard. Funny thing is, the signs don't even try to disguise themselves after a while. Same red flags, same fake smiles, same itch in your gut before the storm, but you wrap it in hope. Like if you decorate the mistake, maybe it won't hurt as much when it bites. You call it a fresh start, but it's just the same fire in a different matchbox. You want to know if God is watching? Look at what He keeps showing you. Look at what keeps circling back into your life. Look at what you keep trying to outrun that somehow always finds you again. That's not coincidence. That's mercy in a mirror, asking if you're finally ready to see yourself. And it's not just people or pain, it's choices, habits, thoughts that rot your mind like termites in the floorboards, but you paint over the cracks and smile for the camera because facing it would mean admitting you're the common thread in all this chaos, and that's too real. That's too loud. So you call it fate, you call it bad timing, you call it everything except what it is, a chance. Repetition is not the enemy. Indifference is. Ignorance is. Comfort is. But repetition, that's grace in disguise. That's God whispering the same thing in a different tone, hoping one version might finally get through. And if it doesn't, he'll say it again, and again, and again, until you either wake up or waste away. You ever wonder why your biggest lessons didn't come from brand new experiences? It's because real change doesn't need novelty. It needs recognition. You don't need a different storm. You need different eyes. You need to stop blaming the sky and start checking your own forecast. Because sometimes the thunder is the same not because life is lazy, but because you're not listening. And the worst part, the longer you ignore it, the louder it gets. What starts as a whisper becomes a shove. What shows up as a warning becomes a wreck. And by then, it's not mercy anymore, it's consequence. But mercy always comes first. Quiet, repetitive, familiar, almost boring until it's not. Until it's breaking everything you thought was stable, all because you refused to pay attention the first time, or the 5th, or the 50th.